What is the stupidest way you've injured yourself? I got out of a long hot shower and noticed a thread dangling off of my shirt, and when I tried to pull it out it just neatly sliced through several millimeters of my finger. It was so minor I can hardly even call it an injury, but getting cut by a shirt is definitely the stupidest I've had. Yikes. Not me, but a babysitter when I was about 6. She was watching me and my 1-year-old brother and went snooping in my dad's stuff. He was military in a job that stood alerts often, and he kept a gas mask and such in a go bag at home. This 16-year-old screwed around and injected herself with an atropine auto-injector in the hand. Her screams alerted me. I called the club my parents were at and told them. They called an ambulance. The sitter was almost unconscious when they took her away as my parents got home. I still remember the weird color she turned. Was helping husband replace the bathroom fan, so I was standing on the side of the bathtub. I had this plastic hook glued to the shower wall to hang a loofah on. I went to get down and slid down the wall and hooked my butt cheek to the wall. It hurt so bad, but was also hilarious. I'm in my 40s and this happened recently. I dropped something behind my couch, leaned over the back to pick it up, and cracked a rib. Was in pain for a week. Getting old as hell. My sister's boyfriend rides his bike to walk/run their dog. They even enter bike/dog races with him. I think the lead is attached to the bike though, and he's trained for it. Also he's a husky/malamute cross, which are 2 breeds bred for pulling, so that's possibly a factor too. Bending over to pick up a paper bag. A completely empty paper grocery store bag. It was standing upright, not even laying on the floor. I barely had to even bend down to pick it up. Somehow this triggered a cosmic alignment between 2 vertebrae and nerve cluster, because suddenly I fell to the floor in crippling pain. Could not get my back straight and had to crawl to the living room so I could lay on the carpeted floor and try to stretch it out. I ended up fucked up like this for days and had to have physical therapy to slowly work out the pinched nerve. I was basically walking like Quasimodo for a couple weeks. People would assume I was in an accident or lifting some boulder like Hercules or saving a child pinned under a car. But nope. I was undone by an empty paper bag. Edit. Thanks very much for the silver and prayers lol. Ugh. A few days ago I spent the day rearranging furniture in my house on my own while my husband was at work. I'm 5'4", female, and already have a prosthetic hip, so not the best idea to start with. I managed to move a ton of stuff without injuring myself. Once I'd finished, I sat down with a cuppa, and my 3-year-old came to ask me to get a toy that was trapped under the TV stand. It wasn't in an awkward place, I just had to get on my knees to get it out. Somehow, that was when my knee decided to give in. I spent the next week or so limping around trying not to do anything to aggravate it, including cooking 2 3-course meals for friends that we had planned weeks previously. You know, not fun. When I was a kid we had blue carpet in the living room. I had just watched some movie or show where the characters jumped into a painting, and I started thinking maybe if I believed really hard, the blue carpet would turn into a vast ocean. So I climbed up on the recliner and swan dove into the floor. One time in middle school I was getting ready to head to school, but I couldn't find any pants. When I finally did, I got so excited and lifted them up really fast as a way to cheer. All of a sudden I felt so much pain in my shoulder and had to go to the doctors. Turns out I dislocated my shoulder and had to wear a sling for the next few days. When I was 12 I was helping my mum trim our giant mulberry tree. In a moment of great intelligence, I held the end of the branch down with one hand and then cut closer to the tree with the other. The cut branch proceeded to fly up and cut my eye. Yup, my actual eyeball. I had to get a ton of stitches on my eyeball and managed to get a fungal infection in my eye from tiny bits of bark that had gotten into my eye, extending the torture of this injury. Do you know how awful it is to get eye drops when you've traumatically injured your eye? Because of that injury, one eye sees distance well but not close up, and the other eye is the exact opposite. I got glasses about 10 or so years ago, but they made my headaches worse, and I didn't think they were helping my eyes, so I stopped wearing them and didn't bother going for a second opinion. I just finally got new glasses and wow, do they make a world of difference. Blah blah. Get glasses if you think you need them, because they really do help, and not getting them is much worse for you. I was 4 years old, and while in kindergarten I hid behind a door and put my finger in the door hinge with the objective to pull it out before the teacher closed the door. In my mind it was like a little game. I was stupid, yes, but I was 4 years old. No need to say that I wasn't fast enough at pulling out. I didn't lose the finger, but it became a little shorter and the shape of it is weird. This happened last year. Went to go play Webkinz at my friend's house. We are all adults 19 to 26. They're holding a cute dog, so naturally I get all Gucci goo, and even more naturally the dog bites my face. Blood was pouring down my face and my friend started freaking out and crying. Went to the bathroom to clean up and assess the damage, but I locked my knees while I was leaning over the counter and passed out on the sink, fracturing my nose. Needless to say, I didn't get to play Webkinz that day. Running quickly out of my bedroom to answer the phone in the living room, smashed my head off the door frame, which happened to be metal, and cut my forehead open. Blood gushing down my face. Turns out it only needed to be taped up at the emergency room. Foreheads bleed a lot. Yeah, that was a winner. I'm a very short person. I hopped upon a bed to dust a cobweb out of the corner. When I hopped back down, I rolled my foot and landed on the side. I broke my foot, and it's an injury that still affects me today. 10 years later, when I was around 12 years old, I was shagging fly balls at a park with a buddy of mine. He hit one pretty deep, and to my left, I was running at a full sprint with my arm outstretched while keeping my eye on the ball when I ran into a jungle gym. Knocked myself out cold. I don't know for how long, but when I came to, his mom was hovering over me, so that means I was out long enough for him to run to his house a few blocks away and then return with her. Ended up with 3 cracked ribs and the worst headache of my life. I'm a body full of scars. I was 10 or 11 and my cousins and I were trying to climb the steep roof of my aunt and uncle's shed. The roof line went to the ground, so we tried running away and boosting each other. We tried everything. Along the back of the shed there was a conduit pipe going up to the rooftop, probably carrying electrical to the shed. I got the idea to climb the pole. About 6 feet off the ground I somehow managed to get the flat head of a nail into my knee. I couldn't go up a bed, I couldn't go down. I was stuck. An adult had to yank me down. My dad was too cheap for stitches, so I got a butterfly bandage. The scar is about an inch long, 1/4 inch thick, on my knee. Goes along with the scar to reattach my pinky, chopped off in a door. My burn that covers most of my forearm. My buddy was messing with his roommate and decided to fill his roommate's pretty good sized closet with balloons to the point where there wasn't an inch of room. So of course I decided I'd be a good idea to sprint full speed and jump headfirst into the balloons. There was a picture frame there to break my fall. Probably needed stitches, but I was a broke college kid, so we crazy glued my wound together. Then there was that time when I came home from the gym and was making a protein smoothie. I decided it'd be a good idea to put some of a weed edible into my smoothie, like quite a lot, 50 milligrams or so. So I drank my smoothie, didn't feel anything yet, so I went upstairs to take a shower. Soon as I get into the shower the edible hits hard. Pretty shortly after I lose my balance and fall straight out of the shower and hit my face on the toilet. When I got to the ER they didn't believe I didn't have any head trauma because I was so high I could hardly function at all. The good news was I was so stoned I didn't hardly feel anything, not even the stitches getting put in. I'm really damn clumsy. There was also a time I was at a bar really drunk and decided to sit next to an open fire pit. Little bit later my buddy is screaming at me because I was on fire. Luckily I just had minor burns, nothing too serious.